GC Requiem here. We're back with round 2 of the league. We start out 0-1, drew Living End, which is just an atrocious matchup and one that we really don't prepare for too much. Just don't run into it that often. Don't really like this hand. I mean, you can definitely set up some mana with it, but we don't have access to black. We don't really have anything to do with the mana anyway. I do like this one only because we're going to get a scry here. We do have some stuff. If we can draw into something good, we can do all right. We are on the draw. I don't love this hand, but I think it's keepable. Just kind of crossing our fingers for no turn 1 Inquisition. So Esper die? No? Figure Heritage Druid would die there. So I'm presuming we've got Esper Mentor. Alright, so we have the choice now of going Elvish Archdruid or Lead the Stampede, and I actually think we go Elvish Archdruid. He's not in position to do a board wipe, and even if he kills the Archdruid, we have the ability to lead the Stampede next turn, potentially off of a mana draw. So I think that's where we are. Oh, it's a sweet smother. So we could lead the Stampede right now. We could Collected Company. I think right now we go for Collected Company. I don't know. So there is the potential he's running a board sweep, but main deck that seems somewhat unlikely, although Smother paired with Serum Visions, I feel like we're in a slightly more control build. I mean, it could just be a Geist, Esper Geist deck. Lead the Stampede sets us up to be in a better position next turn. I think that's really what we go for here. And then I think I actually prefer playing Mystic here, just to give us more likelihood of having excess mana next turn. So basically they can kill our Heritage Druid, they can kill our Mystic, but unless they can kill both, we should be able to play Collected Company next turn. And we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power on board. Not an explosive clock to this point. I think we lead, at the moment we're looking at leading with Nettle Sentinel into Collected Company. Opponent's not sure what he's doing right now either. Sometimes when they take this long, it makes me nervous. Welding jar. Okay, so some sort of Esper artifacts. Here comes Tez. So he's going to turn the welding jar into a 5/5. Honestly, of all the plays out there, that one bothers me the least. I'm suddenly not so stressed about... Okay, no, so now, alright, so now the smother actually makes sense. So he's probably on a like a blue-black Tez, but he's splashing white. Okay, we can work with this. Really would like another green source, or black source rather. So we can definitely take Tez out. Yep, so there's no reason to use Pendelhaven here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 power on board. 13 with the Pendelhaven. He hasn't slammed Damnation yet. These decks do run Damnation, typically, in the main. Something to be aware of. They also tend to run Ensnaring Bridge. We certainly don't know that our opponent is doing that. They may be splashing white for paths. Okay. Sweet. So we should have this. He can block 5, which means we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coming through. One mana counter spells. There aren't any. Alright, so we get the win there. We'll be on the draw for game 2. Fracturing Gust we definitely want in. We could play towards Memoricide if we wanted to get rid of a specific card. I'm not really sure what we'd go with. Dismember definitely could get rid of some removal. Abrupt Decay might be worthwhile as some kind of random spot removal. For, say, like an Ensnaring Bridge. And we could aim Memoricide at like a Tezzeret or a Damnation. I don't think we get too aggressive here. They're going to be running some removal, so it actually weakens Dwynen a little bit, as he may not have anybody to trigger off of. I think we may also want to bring in Damping Matrix. I'm trying to think of the spells that or the artifacts I used to run. And we'll take Anazuri out then, and probably another Dwynen's Elite. And try and just outgrind him here. It's possible I want to bring in a second chord as well. We may do that for the next game. So this is a pretty decent draw. The lack of black for Shaman hurts, but he does give us good action in the middle to late game. So we're either getting a Serum Visions or Inquisition, but this hand is pretty insulated from that. Okay. See what the opponent has to do. Presuming some removal. Doing a lot of pain to himself, which kind of plays well for what we're doing. Okay. Canonist. Be a good abrupt decay eater. So we'll probably bring in Dismember. So Heritage Druid would be a real concern if I could play more than one spell per turn. What we really would like is to draw into there's really nothing we can draw into here that gets us out of the current situation. Yeah, Zuri makes sense. So he cannot profitably block here. He can take out the Dwynen's Elite. We're going to hold off on the Heritage Druid for the moment, in case we're walking into a damnation. Yep, so he's going to start grabbing Shamans now. Lilian of the Vale. So if he's upticking, I'm going to start to think he has Damnation. If he downticks, we're in pretty strong position. we're sending 1 at him, 2 at Lily. We don't really mind if he upticks on us because we don't have any cards in hand. He has to pitch his own cards. We have enough mana that it's not really a concern. And get an extra spot of damage in there. And we're looking at 7 damage coming across to him next turn. So the fact that he doesn't uptick means he's got something he can use, theoretically. So I think... Alright, so now we're in a spot, because we're assuming he's gonna hit us with some sort of removal. So I think what we do here is he may not have removal, but the fact that we have Lead the Stampede and can kind of reload means that we go for combat now. Alright. Whoops. So we're going to be able to slam a bunch more creatures. Tezzeret. X or less. Yeah, I don't think there's anything he can really do. Okay, Ensnaring Bridge. That works. Okay, so his gambit paid off. So for the moment, there's really no need. So he can't keep any cards in hand. We need to draw into Abrupt Decay or Fracturing Gust. What did he put on top? Bottled Cloister? All cards remain face down at the beginning of your upkeep. Return all cards. Okay, so Bottled Cloister is basically a combo with Ensnaring Bridge, so he never has cards in hand. We can just collected company right into a shaman, which is a thing, and I think it's best to do that while he's tapped out. Well, that didn't work. That was about the worst it could be. So we definitely, I think we also definitely want to go for a chord in the next game. We're going to bring that other chord in. Welding jar. So now he's got some protection. We still have some live draws though. So he's trying to get into a spot where he can probably win with the other Tezzeret. He's got 5 artifacts already. He needs to draw the other Tezzeret. Another ensnaring bridge. Really, this is kind of irrelevant at the moment. What is his ultimate? Artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5. So actually Tezzeret can be his own win condition. So we're going to extend a little further here. The reason we're doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is that if he upticks and turns all his creature or downticks and turns all of his creatures into 5/5s, we still just need to draw 1 shaman of the pack to drain him. Okay, so now he's down ticking for another artifact, which means I'm less... I feel like he needed to go for the 5/5s to get the win. But maybe he has... Okay, he has another Tezzeret. That makes sense then. Now he upticks. So we have 2 draw steps, basically, from how I am seeing this. So I feel like maybe he goes up one more time before he goes down. And we're going to be able to trade with some of these if he does all kind of ultimate. Abrupt decay. I think Liliana is really what we got to go after at this point. We don't gain any value from blowing up an ensnaring bridge or welding jar. We can't blow up a bottled cloister. So I'll actually do this on his turn though. Hopefully he'll uptick to remove a card from his own hand. Down to like, what, 2 cocoa? Two cocoa, lead the stampede, Court of Calling, Shaman, 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 and Fracturing Gust as outs, I think. 9 outs with 36, but we've cycled a lot of cards to the bottom. I know I've seen Cord and Lead the Stampede. The fact that he's out of cards on his turn. So he's trying to get to a point here where probably going to say Collected Company, maybe Shaman of the Pack. Oh, so timely. And it can't even be cast. That actually makes our other cards weaker now. Lead the Stampede doesn't do anything. Here comes a Collected Company. Yep, so now we're on to Really, Fracturing Gust is our only out. What's he gonna call? If he calls Fracturing Gust, we're done. Yeah, that's fine. I would actually be preparing to concede, but I don't think I've actually seen Fracturing Gust yet, which means it should be really near to the top. I did that backwards. Guess we did have Court of Calling, potentially. Alright, so we're done now because we can't get the beat down. I actually picked the wrong pile. I thought I was picking the pile to keep. I was picking the pile to destroy. So I would bring in Cord, and I would probably pull maybe Damping Matrix. None of the abilities were really that style of ability. They were all passive. We are running tight on time, so we're going to have to really be fast here. too much. Oh, that's atrocious. Smoother. This dude. Well played. Beast Within might have been worth bringing in here too. Not a matchup I'm particularly used to playing against. So here comes Big Tez. Here comes Ensnaring Bridge, presumably. This is a really interesting match. I mean, I've not played versus one of these Esper versions. So tight, so tight, so tight. So we're looking for, we need Abrupt Decay doesn't cut it, Fracturing Gust might, Shaman of the Pack, Collected Company doesn't do it. Lead the Stampede could. Court of Calling could. I don't think Fracturing Gust even does, because I think if he sacrifices his Welding Jar, yeah, so I'm choosing which pile to sacrifice. Alright, so our outs were Lead the Stampede. We're sacrificing this pile, keeping the lands. Alright, come on, Shaman. We need you right now. Ah! Come on, Cord. Fortunately, there is a Cord. We're done. We need a cord. We need a cord. That's game. Alright, well, that was frustrating. That was a really, really long game. It's possible I should have just bailed out on the other game earlier, but I did have quite a few outs for a long period of time there. Not a deck you normally play against. Not something you see very often. Well played by the opponent. But we'll be back for match 3 soon.